Mary Elizabeth Sperry, the author of Making Room for God, Decluttering, and the Spiritual Life, joins us today on The Gist. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, tell me why you wrote this book.
Well, I'm a pack rat. I'm a really bad pack rat, and I live in 858 square feet, which means you don't have room to be much of a pack rat. And I had a terrible clutter problem, so I started to deal with it because, frankly, I got tired of everything falling off my dresser every time I walked past it. And as I was doing it, I started to realize that it wasn't just about organizing and putting stuff in the right place, that there was really some spiritual stuff underneath why I had so much garbage in my house. And literally some of it was garbage. Can you say AOL initiation disc?
No. Wow, that's a long time ago. So how does this connect, though, to the spiritual life? I mean, when Jesus looks at my house, is he shaking his head like, oh, Carol, please? Is that what you're saying? Or is it more about making room for God and feeling more, I guess, focused in life?
I think it's both. I mean, the fundamental belief of Christianity is that in Jesus Christ, God became one of us and lived a human life. And so I think that by that incarnation, every element of our lives has religious value. We should find God in all the parts of our life. And so, yeah, there's a spiritual meaning to the stuff we have and to the way we relate to our possessions. I mean, do we possess our possessions or do they possess us?
Right.
Think about all the times in the Gospels that Jesus talks about having too much stuff and how the things that we have can block us, keep us from getting to God and keep us from seeing the poor and those in need around us. So yeah, there's a real spiritual meaning to how we surround ourselves with stuff. And at the same time, when you have less stuff, it opens your heart and frees your mind to deal with more spiritual things.
So you talk a little bit in the book about envy, and I think that's a really, that's just such a big topic. I mean, we're all envious of someone else, but when you talk about material things, I guess that is a motivating factor why I buy something I completely don't need when I'm at the store, because I just saw it on the Hallmark Channel that they had this in their show and their set, and I was like, wow, that looks great. Talk about envy and how that definitely is a roadblock and contributes to this clutter.
Well, I think envy is a bigger issue now than it used to be, because let's face it, 250 years ago, you might know a handful of people who had more stuff than you did. But most of the people you came in contact with every day were pretty much in your situation. Now with social media, I mean, everybody is bragging, relationship goals, house goals, life goals, and they're showing this, fabulous life. And it's designed to make you want to acquire it. Oh, look, that person has this awesome new couch, or they did this great house remodel, and now I want all these things. And our entire society, the whole advertising business, is created to make us want stuff we don't otherwise need. No one has to advertise to have, the basics of life. Obviously, when was the last time you saw a commercial for broccoli?
I don't remember, but it is one of my favorite things to eat.
Well, there you go. It's also very tasty in my world. Yes. We don't advertise for things that we are going to need all the time. We advertise mostly for things we don't absolutely need.
How has this helped you spiritually? I mean, since you started the process in your own life, what has changed?
I think two things are most obvious for me. First is I started asking a different question. I used to start by asking myself, even when I was going to make dinner for anything, what do I want? That's how I started the evening. Well, what do I want for dinner tonight? Now I ask a different question. What do I have? And it's really a different spiritual question. You focus on what God has given you rather than what you want and expect. And you start with a different perspective. Gratitude, not desire.
So when you encourage people to declutter, the practical side of that can be completely overwhelming for people. Sometimes they hang on to possessions because they lost a loved one. I'm somebody who hangs on to my kids' artwork since kindergarten. How do you approach that? I mean, do you approach it first with prayer? I mean, because that can be an overwhelming task.
It can, and you have to do it in stages. And that's where I disagree with some other organizing people. In fact, I think it's a continual process, and it gets easier as you go on. Now, I would argue you don't have to get rid of stuff that carries an important memory. In Catholicism, memory is really important to us. It's incredibly important. We value our memories. Part of the Eucharistic prayer is the anamnesis, literally the not forgetting, the remembering. And so I think it's fine to keep those things that hold important memories. But when you have so many things that you can't find the valuable memories,
right,
are you honoring that memory? If you've got a stack of your kids' artwork that's this high and you can't find it anymore, are you honoring it? Might you honor it better by choosing 5 or 6 pieces that you really love and displaying them and really enjoying them?
I'd really like you to come to my house. I know I'm going to fly you up to Massachusetts, but where can people learn more about this? Because, you know, I think it's such a great topic, and I think it does definitely add stress to your life when you can't find, as I read in one of the chapters, when you can't find your bureau mirror, it adds stress. So where can people learn more about this?
I have a blog and a website at www.maryelizabethsperry.com, and I update typically 3 times a week, and I have some other resources there. And really, it's just about taking that first step. You know, the first step is to clean something, anything. Once you do that, you'll always have that spot to look at that's tidy, and you'll realize how calming it is, and you'll want to do more. You have to give yourself those little successes up front.
All right, Mary Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're an inspiration, because now I'm really going to get on this, because I have a lot of piles and I'm not honoring anybody by keeping all this stuff. But it is such a beautiful topic, and thinking about making room for God is just so fitting for all of us. God bless you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Carolee.